Welcome back to episode 64 of the Sleeper Sports Media Podcast. Another one tonight as we preview the big weekend ahead of wrestling, WNBA, and other breaking news that we may get in this time. I know just a little bit ago, about an hour or two ago, we got word that Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson is postponed. A new date will be coming next week, be announced by MVP. So stay tuned for that. Another announcement following that, the official statements from MVP. Pulling up right now to read and just to talk about that. Maybe. The official update from Most Valuable Promotions via Twitter: the upcoming highly anticipated boxing match between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson will unfortunately be postponed during a follow-up consultation on Thursday with medical professionals on his recent ulcer flare-up. The recommendation is for Mike Tyson to do minimal to light training for the next few weeks and then return to full training with no limitations. Both Jake and Mike, they agreed to push the fight back and give Mike the same amount of time to train and for training camp as Jake would get. Mike is expected to return to his full training schedule in the coming weeks, eager to get back to the ring. MVP anticipates rescheduling the match to later this year at AT&T Stadium. We look forward to an exciting and well-prepared contest between these two exceptional athletes. The new date of the fight will be announced by next Friday, June 7th. So stay tuned for that. They both Jake and Mike gave statements saying that they want each other to be at 100%, meaning Jake saying that's Tyson then saying that he will get to 100%. Jake bought time, blah, blah, blah. And then, he gave props and said that Jake bought himself time with this whole thing and agreeing to postpone, but ultimately Mike says it's not going to change anything. Jake's still going to get knocked out, that whole thing. Both guys great at doing what they do in selling fights. That was the big breaking news for the boxing world that matters anyway. We're going to go over to good old WWE.com and preview SmackDown tonight. What we know so far is we have Nia Jax and the coordination of Queen Nia, so she will be on the card tonight, as well as Andrade versus Apollo Crews. I just saw a video from WWE Digital on Twitter that Andrade arrived at the arena for SmackDown and was offered to join Legado del Fantasma, and he denied the offer. There's nothing really interesting in that whole feud with that faction and LWO, even though now they're on different brands, and that whole thing is just, it screams mid-card and will always scream mid-card. Also on the card tonight, we have the Street Profits taking on Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. It's interesting. Now these guys are a tag team, and the graphic shows Paul Heyman and Solo will be out there, and then B-Fab will be with the Profits. I do like that they paired up Jade and Bianca, but I mean, I don't see why they couldn't, because the Profits are in this weird tweener phase of being heels, being faces. Why can't Bianca be also in that group? B-Fab and Bianca could have been a team. Bring Jade in as well, and then you could have a women's trios faction, part of the faction of this new Bobby Lashley, Street Profits, B-Fab, whatever. Not much else is being said. Also on another digital exclusive from WWE and Twitter, we saw the tag champs interrupt DIY talking to Nick Aldis ahead of SmackDown, talking about who's the number one contenders for the tag titles over there on the blue brand. And sure enough, we got a one-on-one match made of Ciampa versus Theory tonight. on SmackDown. Potentially could be finally seeing them pushing DIY into the number one contenders and then eventually a tag team championship match. I wouldn't mind that happening down the road at SummerSlam. No other no other news to go over for WWE and SmackDown, I don't believe. Besides, there's been reports going around today that more NXT talent could go and show up in TNA. There's a show in Chicago coming up sometime in June, so we could expect NXT talent to show up at that. Roxanne Perez didn't know that Jordan Grace was going to be coming out and challenging her at Battleground. Very excited for Battleground coming up within the next week or two. It is on a Sunday. I'm guessing that there is a UFC event on that Saturday, which is why it's on Sunday. So that makes a lot of sense. Looks like that card is filling out nice, and it should be a good event. I do believe Hunter from Apples and Grapes Media and I will be doing a watch along both on my channel, his channel, and the Hardcore Sports Network. So don't miss that. Stay tuned for that. It's going to be a fun time. June 9th, 8 p.m. I don't think we got any more. Don't think we have any more matches made official for that. So I did go over that the other night, and I will continue to go over and get my daily wrestling card video shorts out once we get closer to that event and we have the full card. I'm sure more matches will be added to that as we get closer and closer. WWE side of things is wrapped up, and now we go over to AEW to preview. I think Rampage is back tonight. I think Collision is back this weekend, even though I don't watch either one of those. Yeah, so Rampage already started at 6:30 tonight. I think they did make that announcement Wednesday. On Rampage tonight that we already saw, it started at 6:30 special start time. I believe Collision will still be tomorrow. Normal time should be. But on the Rampage card, we had the first qualifier match for the TNT Championship ladder match that will take place at Forbidden Door. Takeshita versus Penta El Zero Miedo. Then we had AEW Women's Championship Eliminator match, Timeless Tony Storm versus Viva Van. We had Isaiah Cassidy versus Ray Fenix. Kyle O'Reilly was in action. Satnam Singh with Sanjay Dutt and others were also in action. Nothing really to write home about, given that it is Rampage. Hopefully soon with a report that I saw the other night from Ringside News saying that Tony Khan was apparently discussing making Dynamite 3 hours. Hopefully that means we will see them cut Rampage, add that third hour to Wednesday, and then we can get maybe Collision moved to Friday. And I would love to see Collision on Fridays compete head to head with SmackDown, and maybe it would make for more excitement on that show. I would give it a chance to watch it. I know that would be a fun thing to tackle with the Hardcore Sports Network and all the wrestling creators that we have, given that we can go and do watch alongs for that and kind of compete head to head within our group. So it looks like I'm looking on AEW.com right now. Don't see anything for Collision, which is odd that they are skipping Collision again. So tomorrow on Collision, I was able to find the cards and all the matches listed on Twitter, even though it's not on the website, which is odd for AEW, given that they usually are pretty good about getting the cards and whatnot out on Instagram and their website as well. Cage of Agony is in action. We have Thunder Rosa versus Rena Dorada. We have Daniel Garcia and Shibata versus the Workhorsemen. We have Shane Taylor, Lee Moriarty versus West Coast Wrecking Crew. And we will hear from FTR. That looks to be about it for also international AW International Championship match. Will Ospreay versus Kyle O'Reilly. that is a quick wrap up and preview of wrestling for this weekend. Now we're going to jump over to the WNBA side of things, preview a little bit of the matchups we have tonight, which I believe we have a game underway. Atlanta is up 7-3 over Las Vegas. Currently, Dallas 13 is up 13-6 over Connecticut, and New York is winning versus Washington 14-10. We have another game at 9:30, Phoenix and Minnesota, and then tomorrow, of course, big time matchup, Chicago versus Indiana. We have the debut of Camila Cardoso and the long-awaited matchup professionally of Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark. I believe I will be doing a watch along for that one. I don't care if I'm alone. I don't care if I have someone join me. We'll be live for that at 12 noon Eastern on The game will be on ESPN. I will be live on my channel, my Facebook, Hardcore Sports Network, and the Hardcore Sports Network YouTube. So stay tuned for that one. Come join me, watch the game, be active in the comments. We always appreciate that. And then Sunday, we have a big slate of games. We have Connecticut and Atlanta, LA and Phoenix, Indiana and Liberty. So they have back-to-back games, and then they have a couple of days off, I believe. So Indiana and New York, Dallas and Minnesota, and then on Tuesday, Washington, Connecticut, New York and Chicago, Phoenix and Seattle. Then I'll preview more of next week's games once we get to next week. So I believe the WNBA also has an in-season tournament. We're seeing the 2024 Commissioner's Cup presented by Coinbase tips off on Saturday. So tomorrow, June 1st, so the Chicago Sky and Indiana Fever, they start the Commissioner's Cup, which is the in-season tournament for the WNBA, I believe. So the WNBA's in-season tournament features 30 games throughout 2-week span in June, during which all regular seasons will be Commissioner's Cup games. Team straight out with the highest winning percentage in the Commissioner Cup play will continue to host the championship game. I guess this was an update back in December of 2023. December 18th, after 3 successful seasons of the WNBA's version of its in-season tournament, the WNBA today announced changes to the format. That this first launched in 2021 in the league's 28th season. It's going to change to a 2-week period from June 1 to June 13th. For qualifying games, and then teams either play 3 Commissioner Cup games at home and 2 on the road, or 2 at home and 3 on the road. So that's very interesting that they're combining it all, and the NBA adopted this format in their own in-season tournament. So hopefully this is the turnaround that the Fever desperately need. Start winning some games, because 1-8 currently is not good. At this point, the only team that's worse than them is Washington, and that's the only win that they have on the season. So we still have Connecticut 6-0, Las Vegas 4-1, New York is 5-2, Minnesota is 4-2, Seattle is cooking at 5-3, and Atlanta is 3-2, Dallas 3-2, Chicago is 3-3, Phoenix is 3-4, Los Angeles is 2-5, Indiana is 1-8, and Washington is 0-7. Excited for the game tomorrow to see Caitlin, Camilla, and Angel. Should be a good time. Should be a fun game to watch and see the debut and the matchup once again of what the women's tournaments in college have been for the last couple of years. That's going to wrap it up for episode 64 of the Sleeper Sports Media Podcast. It's a quicker one than what I thought it was going to be, but all the breaking news was covered. Previews for wrestling this weekend, WNBA action this weekend. Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe to all the channels that we always talk about, mention that I'm a part of Sleeper Sports Media, my channels, my platform, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Hardcore Sports Network, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching, tuning in, and I will see you next time.